Hey guys, here again with another Shirogorov knife. This one is on the HatiOn Zero, which is the newest version of the HatiOn, replacing the now discontinued HatiOn Lite. So what is a HatiOn? A HatiOn is a mix between the Neon and the Hati, which, for example, this one right here is the Shirogorov knife, where the show side is a composite material and the lock side is a titanium frame lock. So this is what we have here, basically a composite show side version of the Neon, and as such has the exact dimensions of the Neon Zero. This means we have a 3.5 inch cutting length and an overall length of around 7 3/4 inches. Now, getting into the blade, not too much to see here. If you've seen my video on the Neon Zero, you have that M390 blade with the wide jimping, the swedge up here on top, and that wide belly blade. Moving on to the handle. Oh, one thing of note though, since this knife has a textured composite handle, the logo, instead of being on the pommel area here, has been moved back onto the blade, which is something that you see on F95s and 111s. So that's something to note, and this is done here in that nice dark laser engraving. Now moving on to the handle. You can see that this one right here has white carbon fiber. So it's normal black carbon fiber with white epoxy here to give it that color. Now there are a couple different colors here. There is a standard black. That one is actually one of the more uncommon ones to find. This one here is white, as you can see. There's also green, which I do believe I have here on hand. You can see this one's, I can get the right light, a little bit too bright here, but I think if I actually make it a little bit brighter, you can see there's green here. And there is also a blue, red, and an orange one, I believe. So there's lots of different colors to choose from. If you have one that suits your fancy, the red and the blue one, in my experience, are the most vivid, and the white one as well, I guess. The green and orange are a little bit more subdued, but in the right light, you can definitely spot those colors. Now, the handles themselves have a textured pattern to them. If you take a look close here, you can see this is the same exact, I call it Hati wave milling pattern that has been found on the Hati, of course. It's a little more visible here in this blue alu text, but there is a wave pattern milled into the carbon fiber for texture. Otherwise, again, there is this lack of the logo here on the rear of the knife that you see on the titanium Zeros. But otherwise, the dimensions and the shape again are the exact same as the Neon Zero, its titanium cousin. You have that back spacer here with the integrated lanyard loop that sticks out of the handles to accommodate that very long blade. Now moving on to the lock side, you can see here there is a inlay on the top of the handle with that same material here, this white carbon fiber. The clip itself is exactly the same, and it seems like all of the HatiOns have this nice and improved neon clip with the that has the proper amount of tension, so it's not too hard to pocket. Some people have had that concern with a very tight pocket clip on the earlier run of Neon Zeros. That seems to be fixed on all of the HatiOns since they came out after that. The inside of the knife, you can see here that it does have MRBS like all the other Neons. It's the 2-row MRBS without the titanium underlay. So this is bearings on here are running, without the steel washer underlay. So these are running on the titanium handles. But however, on the carbon fiber side, there is actually a steel washer here where the blade actually has a counter bore, and that is what houses the bearing race on the show side, which is very interesting. So the handles are contain the bearing race on the lock side, but on the show side, the bearing race is contained in the blade itself. So very interesting design that allows a steel washer, so the bearings are not riding on the carbon fiber, of course, since that doesn't really seem like a suitable material. And also it allows it to keep this very slim profile, which you really want in a smaller knife like this. Now, another interesting thing to note is, unlike the HatiOn Zero, this knife has kind of ornamental tool pathing here on the lock side and no milling at all on the show side here. Now, this ornamental milling is something that we did see on the original HatiOn Lite, and interestingly enough, the first iteration of the HatiOn, which had the same profile as the HatiOn Lite, did actually have full internal milling on the lock side. This one does not, and honestly, the reason why I think that is because the handles had to be milled out to accept this handle, this lock side inlay right here. So because of that, they really weren't able to do full internal milling on the lock side, unlike the original HatiOn Lite, and then of course also what you see on the HatiOn Zero. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but it seems some people really do like this inlay here on the lock side. It does stand a little bit proud of the handles, so you have some tactile feel here, and of course it's also textured with the HatiWave as well. Personally, I'm not really a fan of this inlay here, but again, I do see why people like having some carbon fiber on the lock side as well. So I can't really comment on that one way or the other, but I do know that I thought it was very interesting to see that lack of internal milling on the lock side when the first generation of the HatiOn did have that there. But otherwise, not really too much to talk about that I haven't said in my HatiOn Zero video, since the ergonomics and such are pretty much exactly the same. Oh, I should have done this in the beginning, but definitely worth comparing the overall weight. Since, again, with that carbon fiber or composite show side, you're definitely getting a weight reduction, or hopefully. Let's take a look here at that. Now, the weight on this knife is, let's see, we have 73 grams as compared to a HatiOn Zero. Now, I don't have a full HatiOn Zero, but I do have a HatiOn R20, which is pretty much the same. There might be some weight reduction here with this milling on the handles, but as you can see here, we have 82 grams. So we're talking about, let's see, around almost 10 grams difference. So definitely significant, and you can definitely feel that in the hand as well. Otherwise, though, the dimensions, again, are exactly the same. You have the same blade profile, same blade thickness, same overall thickness in the knife. Although I do suspect maybe it's a little bit thicker because of the proud inlays here on the lock side. But otherwise, I think that's pretty much insignificant. But otherwise, the knife should handle exactly the same. Really nice option if you like that carbon fiber and want just a slightly lighter knife than the titanium version. One other thing to note as well is the acoustics are a little bit different on the flip compared to the titanium version. I'm assuming this is just the way that carbon fiber reacts when it's being flipped. There's also a slightly different tactile feel when you flip the knife and it locks up. And when you close the knife, and you can hear that the blade setting in on the detent as well. So again, very subtle differences, but overall feels exactly the same. That's pretty much it on the HatiOn Zero, and hope to see you next time.